Level across the top. What's up, and welcome to the channel. My name is Headshot, and thank you guys for joining us for our new review on the M&P Shield M2.0 version. We got the original and the new version. Show you some differences and what Smith & Wesson has done with their new pistol. Really quick, if you guys want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, come over and follow us over there. We are definitely feeling some of the effects of the YouTube demonetization, and we're trying to get those platforms up as well, so we always, no matter what happens, have a voice with you guys and are able to get our message out. So the links will be down below to our Facebook and our Twitter. Also check out some of the companies in the description below. The discount codes we have set up for you guys, those are still going very strong, and we appreciate those companies and their support. So the new M2.0 Shield, the new M2.0 line in general has been very successful. I've liked pretty much everything they've put out so far, especially the compact. We did that one a month or two ago, and now we're going to go over the new Shield. The original Shield, this one really set a high standard in the single stack market. It had a lot of the great features that the Big Brother M&P line had. And now we have some improvements on that, and I'll kind of bounce back and forth a little bit and show you the improvements and what kind of difference those make. Now, we're not going to pull this out of the box. You still get a cardboard box with the new Shield, but one thing I noticed that when Smith & Wesson sent this to me is it actually came with 3 magazines this time, which was pretty cool. So you actually have 2 of the extended base plate versions. I actually have this extended mag in this gun. They're interchangeable, but it came with 2 of the extended versions and 1 of the standard 7-round versions. So that was really good to see, and that adds a little bit more value if you decide to upgrade from this one to the new version. Let's go ahead and talk about the specs here really quick on the Shield. You have 9mm, 40, or 45. The 45 version is going to be a little bit bigger. I actually have the 45 Shield right here. The 45 version is going to be a little bit bigger all the way around lengthwise, and it's also going to be a little bit longer in the grip. Of course, we're not comparing these two. I just want to kind of show you where you will be in the scheme of things. That's a rough estimate of how much longer in the grip the 45 Shield will be. And then your 40 and 9mm versions are going to be pretty much the same except for capacity. Of course, the 9mm version is going to give you 1 more round, whereas the 45 and the 40 are 6-round capacities. Speaking of that, 7+1 in the standard magazine, and then you have 8+1 in the extended magazine. Barrel length is 3.1 inches. Overall length is 6.1 inches. And then what's really nice is you have this stainless steel slide-in barrel with this armornite finish. This one is actually the old melanite finish, and you can kind of see over time pulling it in and out of a holster. It doesn't look bad. It's just considerably more faded and scratched up compared to the new one, obviously. But I think it's held up pretty well over time, but now they're doing this armornite. It's supposed to be a little bit tougher for sure. Starting at the front now, you have the front and rear slide serrations. This is something all the M2.0 versions are coming with. Again, they're pretty low, all right? So I feel like if they were to come up higher, they'd be more usable. But again, if you don't have that on there, you're going to notice you're going to get a lot more bite into your hand if you do your press checks or whatever you're doing. And aesthetically, it looks pretty good. At the front, of course, you don't have any place for a light or laser. This is designed strictly a concealed carry, but there are laser attachments that you can get that go around the trigger guard. Coming up under the trigger, you have a pretty decent undercut, so you can get your hand high up on the pistol. And then back to the grip, this is a huge change they've made for these pistols, is now you have this really rough texture and finish. Now, it works great on the range, okay, because it's going to keep this gun locked into your hand. Looking at the original, you can tell how much more aggressive the new M2.0 is compared to this one. This one, it has these little bumps. They don't go all the way around on the grip, and it can get quite slippery. The benefit of this one is inside the waistband, this does not rub you nearly as raw as this one. I always have an undershirt protecting my skin from this grip because it will rough you up a little bit for sure. This is the non-thumb safety version. That's one I tend to go with on pretty much all of my pistols. This one, of course, has the thumb safety on it. This was our very first shield, so that was just an option. We didn't really care because it's so positive and it's click that you can keep it off, and I feel like you wouldn't have to worry about it coming on accidentally. But with the new version, you can get it with or without that thumb safety. This version also has the night sights. That's something I wanted to try on the shield. I've never had a pair of Smith & Wesson night sights straight from them, and I wanted to see how they did. And by the way, Smith & Wesson was nice enough to send this pistol out to us for a review, and big thanks to those guys. Coming around to the other side of the pistol, you can see there are no ambidextrous features, so no slide stop, and you cannot reverse your magazine release on this one. So left-handed shooters, I know a lot of you guys just kind of deal with it. But you know, if you're interested, that's one of those features you're not going to get on the smaller shield. Trigger is something we're going to talk about after the shooting part of the review, and make sure you stick around because some exciting things they've done with the triggers on pretty much all the M2.0 lineup. So a lot of cool features that they've done here. Also, what's cool is that all your magazines from your previous versions are going to work. So this 8-round magazine out of the original will work in the new one. You hear that a little bit of click up in there, and that's one thing that's nice. On these extended base plate, what you're going to notice is on the new one, it has that rough texturing finish as where the old one did not, but it's still going to line up just fine. One thing you want to keep in mind though, when you're releasing the magazine on this extended version, the back end of this tends to hang up on your hand. So you got to really be conscious of that and rip that magazine out of there or try to get it out of the way, which is just kind of inconvenient, to be honest with you. But that's nice that all the magazines are interchangeable between the lineups. Now, one nice thing between the regular version and this one is they've lightened it up quite a bit. 0.7 ounces is actually what you're going to be looking at. So 18.3 ounces on the new one and 19 ounces even on the original one. So that's really going to benefit you a lot inside the waistband. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. If you've never carried inside the waistband, though, it really makes a big difference, and I was glad to see they lightened it up quite a bit. One of the other features that you have on this lineup is you have your viewport there, so you can see if there's brass down in the chamber, and you also now have this little shelf on the back of the sight there. So if you need to do a reload off of your boot, your belt, whatever, you're able to do that compared to the original, which is more sloped, and you're not going to be able to get a bite like you want if you have to do those reloads. Let's go ahead and break the pistol down, and then we will take you guys to the range with us, do some shooting. You're going to lock it to the rear, rotate this down. All right, pull the trigger, make sure it's safe, obviously. They still have this little yellow tab in here. You can pull that down and not have to pull the trigger. Just be safe about it, and you shouldn't have anything to worry about. Dual captive recoil spring, stainless steel setup, and then there's your 3.1-inch barrel. Striker block back there. Let's go ahead and put this back together. After we come back from the shooting, we'll show you guys the trigger on it, and then we will talk about pros and cons and our overall opinion on the new shield. We're going to see if these actually changes are something worth upgrading to, or if they are not. We will see you guys in a minute. Ready? All right, so this gun is a heck of a shooter, just like the original, but they've made some key differences, and that trigger is probably the biggest one. Let's go ahead and show you that here really quick. I'll show you how it looks here. You still have that hinge design, okay? So you got to pull it directly in the middle. Once you get to this wall, it's pretty much just straight back. It's going to break, reset right there. One thing I did notice is you don't really have the ghost reset like my original shield did. Let me show you this. You get to the wall, it breaks. Listen to this. All right, sounds like the reset. If you're somebody that shoots off the reset, and I tend to do that, you're going to think you're going to get a bang again, and you're not. And to be honest with you, this gun really showed me that I flinched quite a bit, and I had to make sure that I got that right. So that's not the reset. That's the reset, okay? Now, the M&P line, the shield line in particular, was really a staple of the lineup because it really changed the way Smith & Wesson does their triggers, because the original M&Ps just had horrible triggers on them. So even though it's not the best trigger in the world, the shield is one of the big reasons that we now have the better, way better triggers than what we used to have in the past. So really, really nice trigger on this. Let me show you the weight here really quick. Pull it straight back. 5 pounds, 14 ounces. So it's not overly light. It's not something you really want in a self-defense gun, but it's crisp. 5.7 ounces. Very nice job on the trigger from Smith & Wesson. Let's talk about how the way the gun carries here really quick. I have my Tolster holster. If you want an amazing holster, make sure you look at the link down in the description below and save yourself some money on these. But these are just fantastic, and the fit and finish and everything is great. But carrying this pistol, like I said, make sure you have an undershirt, okay, because this will rub you raw. But overall, the gun is light, it's concealable, and it just feels really, really good in the waistband, and carrying it all day is not a chore at all. And to be honest with you, neither was this one. This one was a great carry gun. Miss Headshot moved to something a little bit smaller just because she wears tighter clothes than I do, but she really loved this gun, and that's the reason it's still in the collection, because of how much she loved it. But this gun, to me, is just a better version. Now, let's go ahead and talk about pros and cons, and our overall opinion on the firearm. Pros, grip texturing. I think even with that inside the waistband issue that I've seen with the M2.0 versions, this is more of a benefit because it just keeps it locked into your hand. It feels like it's a little bit more controllable, even though this one was a great shooter. I just really like what they've done here with the grip texturing, and make sure that it goes all the way around the pistol, on the sides and palms of your hands and everywhere. You just get a really good bite. Front slide serrations, you know, like I said, I prefer them to go up, further than what they do, but they still provide a nice little bite into your hand, and I think that's a good thing. The shelf back here on the sights, another good thing that they did there, because you never know what may happen. You may have to do your reloads off of a belt or a table or anything else, and I think that shelf just kind of lends itself better to being a self-defense weapon, because you have the tools that you need in case something were to happen. Overall, the trigger is awesome. Grip texturing is awesome. The fact that the magazines interchange, that's a great feature. This Armor Night finish, I cannot wait to see what this thing is like over time, and see if it fades as much as the old Melanite finish, or maybe it's a little bit tougher. But overall, it seems to be doing pretty good. Night sights work great, and I really like Smith & Wesson's night sights. They pick up well, and you have a really good setup here, and at night they do a fantastic job. As far as your cons, there's not going to be many. One thing I would have liked to have seen them do, and this is just a really small thing, and this is personal preference, obviously, but you really cannot use this slide stop as a release if you want to. I mean, it's really, really stiff, just like the old one. It's really, really hard to drop that slide with the release. Not a big deal at all though. One thing I would have liked to have seen them do is maybe add the option to reverse your magazine release for left-handed shooters. I think that's a nice option to have in there. But overall, they kept the size down, they kept the weight, they actually shaved a little bit of weight off of it. The fact you can get them with factory night sights. I think you guys know the answer to my question in the beginning of the video is how do we feel about this thing and if it's worth upgrading to. I definitely would say yes. Trigger, grip texturing, I think those are the two biggest things and that you're going to notice. Now, of course, you can take an M&P Shield or an original one, get an upgraded trigger for it, do a little stippling job, but I think overall, especially for the price these things are coming in at, I think you're going to be more than happy if you decide to upgrade. They've done a lot of nice things with this lineup. Altogether, we've done 3 of the M2.0s, and I think Smith & Wesson has really hit the nail on the head and done some good things with their guns. Of course, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let us know what you think about the new M2.0 Shield. We will see you guys in the next one, and as always, hold them down.